Ready to explore something many find kinda intimidating, but super intriguing.
Ah, the
It's self-discipline. We're diving deep into The Power of Discipline by Daniel Walter.
We'll uncover not just why it's hard, but also how it unlocks potential we don't even realize we have.
Like hidden superpowers or something?
Kinda. We'll unearth how self-discipline ties into things like confidence and how we react to daily frustrations.
And get this, we'll even learn techniques inspired by Buddhist monks.
They're kind of the masters of discipline.
Seriously, less than 10% of New Year's resolutions actually work out.
Oh, for sure.
And often it's because of a lack of self-discipline. The book argues,
Oh, it makes a really interesting point.
I know, right? It says even average folks can outperform those relying just on talent or intelligence if they have enough self-discipline.
Like, it flips the script on the whole you're stuck with your genes thing.
Totally. And chapter 1 dives into this idea that self-discipline isn't all about brain power.
It's more like weightlifting, but for your prefrontal cortex?
The decision-making part of your brain, right?
Exactly. Each time you resist a bad impulse and choose the tougher, better option.
You're basically pumping iron, but for your brain.
It's like resisting that donut and having a healthy breakfast instead.
Such a small thing, but it's like a workout for your brain.
Building those decision-making muscles over time.
That's encouraging for those who thought, well, I'm just wired this way.
Absolutely. But then there's willpower. The book says it isn't limitless.
Like a muscle, it gets fatigued.
Remember that radish experiment? People had to resist eating cookies.
Oh, yeah, I read about that.
And afterward, they gave up on puzzles way faster, willpower drained.
So maybe we shouldn't tackle the hardest thing when our willpower's already low.
Right. Do it first thing in the morning when you're fresh.
Explains why those late-night cravings are so hard to resist.
Totally. And stress. It hijacks our prefrontal cortex.
So under pressure, we make more impulsive choices.
Makes sense. And chapter 3 introduces a concept explaining why we get stuck.
Even when we want to change.
It's called the status quo bias.
It's like when people stay in bad jobs or relationships for way too long.
They cling to the familiar, afraid of regret and loss.
Even if something new would be so much better.
It's deep-rooted in our psychology.
Walter connects it to the sunk cost fallacy.
It's where we're so attached to what we've already invested.
Time, effort, emotions.
Exactly. And it feels impossible to walk away, even if it's the smart thing to do.
This makes you realize how much of what we do isn't purely logical.
Definitely driven by these underlying psychological patterns.
And just as we think we've got a grip bam, the Dunning-Kruger effect,
He talks about it in chapter 4, how people who are incompetent,
often don't even know it.
right, they lack the self-awareness to judge their own abilities.
It applies to self-discipline too.
We overestimate our mastery without realizing it.
So to develop real self-discipline, we need to be brutally honest.
Recognize our blind spots and seek feedback to avoid that trap.
Totally. Let's get practical. Chapter 5 looks at habits of successful people.
Like Obama, Bill Gates, Oprah.
They prioritize morning routines.
Exercise, learning, meditation before starting their workday.
It's like setting the tone for the whole day.
Right. And then there's a fascinating connection.
Between gratitude and self-control.
People who practice gratitude tend to have more self-control.
They're better at delaying gratification and choosing long-term goals.
So writing down what we're thankful for can boost willpower.
Such a simple practice, yet it can have a profound impact.
It's amazing. But as we go deeper, Walter doesn't hold back.
No sugarcoating.
Chapter 8, he says self-discipline isn't about feeling good.
It's about doing what's needed even when it's tough.
Embracing the discomfort zone. Pushing our limits.
Like Navy SEALs. He talks about their urge surfing technique.
Writing out cravings instead of fighting them.
Think of a big wave, you ride it out till it subsides.
You observe those urges without battling them.
They'll pass, just like waves on the ocean.
But mastering self-discipline is more than resisting urges.
There's more.
Chapter 9, it's about changing our self-image.
Our identity.
He gives an example saying, I'm trying to quit smoking versus,
I don't smoke.
that little shift in words, it's huge.
Because words reflect who we believe we are.
And our habits reflect that self-perception.
So to change habits, we need to change who we believe we are.
It's not just willpower, it's becoming that person.
Now I'm thinking about all those times I said, I'm not a runner.
Maybe you need to start saying, I am a runner.
Let my actions follow suit.
Exactly. And now, for ancient wisdom, the Zen approach.
Buddhist monks, right. They're known for their self-discipline.
Walter shows how Zen philosophy can apply to achieving goals.
They accept suffering, focus on the present, detached from fear.
Sounds pretty zen, right there.
Totally. And their secret weapon, meditation.
Even science backs up its benefits for focus and self-control.
Like training your mind to stay calm amidst distractions. This is eye-opening. It's
Ar-
like self-discipline isn't this rigid thing.
Right, it's a path to unlocking our potential.
It's a journey, not a destination.
Exactly. Building habits, changing our mindset.
And embracing discomfort for long-term gain. This has been so insightful.
Definitely.
Willpower, status quo bias, Dunning-Kruger, even Buddhist monks.
It's been quite a ride.
Can't wait for the next part, more practical techniques.
Absolutely.
Or insights from Walter.
We've got a lot more to uncover. Back again exploring self-discipline. We've seen the psychology now. Let's get into the how-to, the strategies.
Awesome. Walter has given us some incredible insights so far.
He sure has. Now, let's delve into those practical tools he offers, even borrowing from some unexpected sources.
Unexpected.
Like Navy SEAL training. In Chapter 6, he talks about this 40% rule.
Okay, what's that all about?
The idea is we give up way too soon. Like when we feel like quitting.
We've only tapped into like 40% of our real capacity.
Exactly. SEALs use this to push past what they think are their limits.
So it's not just physical endurance, it's mental toughness too,
Oh, absolutely. And they have this cool technique for stress management.
in those high-pressure situations.
Arousal control, they call it. It involves this thing called box breathing.
Box breathing. I've never heard of that.
It's a breathing pattern. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold again for 4.
Huh. Sounds simple enough.
It calms your nerves and helps you think clearly when things get crazy.
Wait, so this isn't just for SEALs, right?
No way. Think public speaking, deadlines, tough conversations.
Game changer.
Totally. Then there's the 10-minute rule, a mini version of the 40% rule.
Okay, break it down for me.
When you want to quit something, just commit to 10 more minutes.
To trick your brain into keeping going.
It often overrides that initial resistance.
You end up working way longer than you thought you would.
Exactly. It's like outsmarting that take the easy way out part of your brain.
Clever. But then in Chapter 7, the focus shifts to what holds us back from discipline.
Ah, the obstacles.
He introduces Parkinson's law, this idea that work expands to fill the time we give it.
So if you have a week to do a project,
It'll probably take the whole week.
even if you could do it in 2 days,
Like we subconsciously create busy work to fill the space.
our minds are procrastination experts.
I can relate to that. And we always wait for the perfect time to do things.
Right. But the key takeaway is,
Consistent action, even if it's imperfect,
yeah,
beats waiting for the stars to align.
couldn't agree more. He also talks about false hope syndrome.
What's that?
We think changing habits will be easy,
And then we set unrealistic expectations.
leading to disappointment and losing motivation.
It's a vicious cycle.
We got to have patience, persistence, and realistic expectations.
Totally. And then Chapter 9, it's about shifting our focus.
From the goal to the system that supports it.
So instead of obsessing over the outcome,
Focus on the daily habits that'll get you there.
I love that. It's so easy to get fixated on the end result.
And forget about the daily actions that pave the way.
It's like picturing a skyscraper without thinking about all the planning and construction involved.
You got it. It's building a lifestyle, not just chasing a result.
Align those habits with who you want to be.
Become that person, not just wish you were them.
Such a powerful shift. It's not just wishing, it's actively creating the reality you want.
Love that. And speaking of creating,
We're back to those fascinating Buddhist monks.
you know it. Chapter 10 shows how Zen philosophy can help with goal achievement.
Accepting suffering, being present in the moment.
It can enhance our self-discipline.
It's not about avoiding discomfort, it's about acknowledging it as part of growth.
Right. Walter even looks at the routines of Shaolin monks, masters of self-discipline.
They start their day at 5 a.m., right?
Rigorous training, physical and mental.
Mindfulness and meditation are key.
They get the mind-body-spirit connection.
It's so inspiring.
And they stay motivated by finding purpose in what they do.
It's not about external rewards. It's about living authentically. Chapter 11, meditation. I've always struggled with that.
A lot of people do. Racing minds, fidgeting bodies.
That's me.
Walter breaks down techniques, though, focusing on breath, just sitting, even walking meditation.
So many options.
The key is practice, like any skill.
The research shows it reduces stress, sharpens focus.
Increases self-awareness.
Makes sense.
The cool thing is there's a type of meditation for everyone.
You just have to find what works for you.
And stick with it. We've covered so much SEAL techniques, Buddhist wisdom, all sorts of strategies.
It's been mind-blowing. But there's still more to come.
Stay tuned for our final segment.
More insights from the power of discipline.
We'll wrap up our deep dive into self-discipline.
And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into self-discipline with The Power of Discipline by Daniel Walter. We've explored willpower, Zen philosophy, Navy SEAL tactics.
It's a whole lot.
Now let's uncover some more unique strategies that Walter presents.
That's good.
Chapter 12 is all about language. The words we use when talking about our goals.
Oh, interesting.
Walter argues against using the word try.
I probably use that one a lot.
We all do. Like, I'll try to go to the gym, or I'm trying to be more mindful.
Makes sense.
But try implies a lack of commitment. An escape route for when things get tough.
Like you're giving yourself an out from the start.
Exactly. Saying, I'll do something is way more powerful. It's a firm decision.
So instead of I'll try to finish that project,
I will finish that project.
It's a small change, but a big difference in mindset.
Absolutely. And in Chapter 13, Walter looks at those who succeed.
Versus those who don't.
He emphasizes the importance of avoiding shortcuts.
It's tempting to look for the quick fix.
But real success comes from putting in the work.
True.
It's about respecting the process, knowing that mastery takes time and effort.
Consistency is key.
He also talked about breaking big goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
Makes it less overwhelming.
But it builds momentum as you go.
Step by step.
Chapter 14 encourages us to actually enjoy the process, not just the result.
Okay, how do you do that?
He suggests pairing tough tasks with something enjoyable.
Ah, I see. Like a reward system.
It's like classical conditioning. You train your brain to associate the task with pleasure.
So it becomes less dreadful.
And it ties into connecting success with your identity.
Explain that one.
When you consistently do things that lead to success, you start to see yourself differently.
You become that successful person.
Your actions shape your self-perception.
It's a positive feedback loop. Now, this one might sound strange. Chapter 15 is about harnessing negative emotions.
Like anger, envy, anxiety.
Wait, use them to our advantage. How?
It's not about dwelling in those feelings, but channeling that energy into action.
Oh, I get it. Turn that negative energy into fuel.
Anger can become determination. Envy can inspire us to strive higher.
And anxiety can push us to be proactive.
It's all about perspective.
Reframing those emotions as motivators.
Exactly. Chapter 16 introduces a couple of principles.
Okay, lay them on me.
The Pareto principle, also known as the 80-20 rule.
I heard of that one. 80% of results come from 20% of our efforts, right?
And then there's Sturgeon's law. It says that 90% of everything is junk.
Interesting.
The takeaway is to focus on the vital few and let go of the rest.
Prioritize those actions that really move the needle.
It's about recognizing where to invest your energy for the greatest impact. And finally, Chapter 17 is about avoiding burnout.
Ah, important.
We've talked about pushing boundaries, but we also need to respect our limits.
Self-care is essential.
Walter emphasizes scheduling, setting realistic expectations, and taking breaks.
It's about sustainability.
He also talks about recognizing the signs of burnout, exhaustion, cynicism.
When productivity starts to tank.
If you hit that point, it's time to rest and reassess.
Recharge those batteries.
It's about a balanced approach to self-discipline.
Not pushing yourself to the point of breaking.
Wow, what an incredible journey this has been.
Oh, I know, right? From the science of willpower to the wisdom of Buddhist monks.
Navy SEAL tactics, the power of gratitude, even using negative emotions to our benefit.
Walter has given us a treasure trove of strategies.
It's inspiring, to say the least.
It really is.
Self-discipline is an ongoing process.
A journey, not a destination.
But with the knowledge we've gained, it's a journey we can all embark on with confidence.
Absolutely. Remember, listeners, self-discipline is a practice, not a perfect state.
Be kind to yourselves along the way, and never underestimate your own power to create change.
That's the most important thing.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure exploring with you.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, keep striving for your best selves.